How the rich quietly build wealth while the rest of us get crushed, and you don't even realize it's happening. You feel it, right? Every grocery trip costs more, every paycheck feels smaller, and somehow, saving money doesn't feel safe anymore. Prices climb, wages stall, savings melt, inflation eats it all, taxes rise, debt costs more, and housing? Let's be honest, it's starting to look like a luxury dream now. So what's going on? Why does it feel like the harder you work, the further behind you get? Because, honestly, the old game is dead. The playbook your parents followed. Work hard, save money, pay off the house, retire happy. That game ended decades ago. The system changed, but nobody updated the rules for the middle class. My name's Ryan, and I'm here to fix your money problems by showing you the playbook the rich actually use. And hey, if you're tired of working harder and ending up with less, make sure to subscribe, because what you're about to learn will completely change how you see money forever. Look, the first rule the rich understand is stupidly simple, but it changes everything. Know the difference between an asset and a liability. Most people think they know this, but they don't live it. Decades ago, saving money made sense. But in 1971, when the US dollar was taken off the gold standard, everything changed. Overnight, money stopped being backed by gold. It became backed by belief. Fiat currency. The government could print as much as it wanted, and it did. Since then, they've printed trillions. The result? The dollar today buys what only 15 cents could back then. That's not progress. That's theft by design, a silent tax called inflation. Robert Kiyosaki said it best, savers are losers. Not because saving is dumb, but because the system punishes you for doing it. You think you're being responsible, but your money is quietly bleeding value every single day. So what's the move? You've got to own things that rise with inflation, assets that grow while cash shrinks. But here's the trap. Most people confuse looking rich with being rich. The shiny car, the big house, the latest phone. Those aren't assets. They're liabilities that smile while they drain you. I still remember my first, I made it moment. That first real paycheck. I bought a new car, smelled that brand new interior, felt unstoppable. 2 years later, I owed more than it was worth. That car didn't move me forward. It chained me to payments. When I switched to clean, low-mileage used cars, 2 years old, already done depreciating, suddenly I wasn't bleeding cash. That one small mindset shift made a massive difference. Because assets feed you quietly. Liabilities eat you quietly. Even cash, believe it or not, can be a liability now. If inflation's at 6% and your savings pays 1%, you're losing 5% a year just by standing still. That's why the rich buy things that beat inflation: real estate, gold, silver, farmland, even water rights. Not because they're trendy, but because they move opposite to the dollar. Once you start thinking that way, you stop playing defense and start playing offense. And this is where most people hit a wall, because school doesn't teach any of this. It teaches you how to work, not how to build. You can graduate with honors and still know nothing about taxes, debt, or investing. Think about it. How many of your teachers were wealthy? Right. Most weren't. Great people, sure, but they were teaching from a system that never rewarded ownership. Real money skills? You learn those from people who've actually played the game. Investors, builders, entrepreneurs, the ones who failed, adapted, and won. I learned it the hard way in property management. Fresh out of college. No money, no connections, just spreadsheets and rent rolls. I figured out that if I could raise rent by even $50 per unit, that small number could raise the property's total value by hundreds of thousands, all because of something called net operating income. Then I started trimming expenses too. The results were insane. That one formula got me noticed, promoted, and eventually running my own company. And that's when I understood financial education isn't optional. It's survival. Now let's talk about the part that terrifies 99% of people: debt and taxes. The middle class runs from debt. The rich weaponize it. Robert Kiyosaki said it perfectly. Those who understand debt get rich. Those who don't get crushed by it. You see, when you borrow from a bank, it's not even the bank's money. It's other people's deposits, OPM. Other people's money. Let's say you buy a $1 million property with 20% down. That's $200,000 of your cash controlling a $1 million asset. If it rises 10% in value, you've doubled your money without doing anything. And if inflation's higher than your loan rate, you're borrowing money cheaper than it's losing value. That's free money, if you understand the math. Of course, not all debt is good. Consumer debt kills you. Credit card debt eats your future. But smart debt? It's a lever that multiplies wealth. Taxes work the same way. Most people fear them. The rich study them. The tax code isn't a punishment manual. It's an instruction book. It tells you exactly what the government wants you to do. Invest in housing, energy, agriculture, infrastructure, and then rewards you for doing it. You want to know where the next opportunity is? Follow the tax incentives. That's literally where the wealth moves. I once invested in billboards, not because I love staring at metal frames, but because they count as land improvements. A few years back, bonus depreciation let you write off 100% of the cost in year one. So $1 million investment? Boom, full write-off. The cash flow that followed? Mostly tax-advantaged. That's not luck. That's literacy. The same rules apply to solar farms, oil wells, even private jets. The government wants you to stimulate the economy, and it pays you to do it. And here's the truth. If taxes are your biggest lifetime expense, and they are, then ignoring them isn't just lazy. It's financial suicide. Once you start playing the same game as the rich, you realize the system was never unfair. It was just written in a language the middle class never learned. Now, what keeps the rich rich, even during recessions, is one word: cash flow. Most people chase hype, gamble on stock prices, flip houses, and pray. The rich? They chase predictable income. Cash flow is boring, slow, and steady, which is exactly why it wins. Because when markets crash, your bills don't stop. But if your income comes from assets that keep paying you, you sleep fine. When I buy a property, I know the math before I sign. I know what rent is, what costs are, what I can fix to raise value. If I can increase income and cut expenses, I've built wealth. Simple. So ask yourself, are you gambling on appreciation, or are you building cash flow? Because one makes you lucky, and the other makes you free. And look, this doesn't have to be real estate. I know mechanics who build transportation fleets, renting cars to Uber drivers, ranchers renting land for events, doctors buying apartments for medical staff. These people don't chase hype. They monetize what they already understand. So stop thinking you need to start big. You don't. You just need to start smart. Start where you are. A student? Find housing near campus. Rent it to classmates. Learn small. Scale later. The rich didn't start rich. They started curious. Here's the quiet truth most people never face. The system rewards owners, not workers. Every dollar you invest into an income-producing asset moves you one step out of the rat race. Meanwhile, most people trade time for money, pay half in taxes, and save the rest in a currency designed to decay. That's not progress. That's a trap. So the next time you feel like you're slipping behind, remember, the rules changed. But the opportunity didn't disappear. You just have to play a different game. Think like the rich. Own assets. Study money. Use smart debt. Use tax incentives. Build cash flow. Because the middle class isn't shrinking by accident. It's being engineered out. And the only way to survive is to evolve. Once you do, inflation stops being your enemy. It becomes your engine. And that's when everything changes.